Hey, what's up, guys? Tomorrow I'm gonna be set up at the Central Mall, Southeast Texas Fan Fest. My friend Dan's gonna let me set up there, so I wanted to make a small video. It's gonna be decent length. I'm just showing all the raw cards that I'm gonna have available. I'm not gonna have a video for the slabs that are not priced yet, but just want to give you an idea what we're gonna have, or at least I'm gonna have up there. And then we've got the show coming up in June over at the Holiday Inn from Stark Trading Company. One of the best shows we've had in a long time. We just had recently, and we had a good turnout. And so a lot of these prices will be changed most likely by then. Who knows if it's up or down? But I'm not gonna. I don't want to go too slow, but I'm gonna at least give you. I'm gonna try to give y'all an idea what I have. So everything is trying. I'm trying to keep it in price order. I don't have a lot of modern right now, but this gives you an idea what kind of variety. This is Pokemon Center. I have another Pokemon Center. I'm trying to keep it sorted by eras. Like, so this is ultra modern, and it's gonna be in price order from smallest to largest. And I need to start pricing things with stickers showing what's played and what's not played. This is gonna be mid-era and early modern. But I don't have the stickers that my former boss I used to work for in Houston. He would put LP, MP, HP stickers on it, which would make it easier for people that are looking for nicer condition cards versus like HP condition cards. Like, I mean, this you can tell it's HP, a lot of playware. But a lot of people don't understand at these shows, not everybody is going to be putting out pack fresh Gem Mint 10 cards. And some of these people have expectations that every single card that's going to be out there, this is more mid-era stuff. They think everything that... Oh, actually, I messed that up. I went out ordered. I should have done this one first anyway. They think everything put out should be a PSA 10 quality, which I disagree with. I don't grade as much as some of these other dealers do. But when people are always expecting only Gem Mint cards, that really makes me like... blows my mind. You think that every card's got... the only card that's worth buying is something you can grade and make money on. And so when you go to these shows, a lot of these casual people coming in are looking for a nice copy for their binders. And so whenever the expectation is everything's got to be pack fresh, no whiting, no scratches, no edge wear, no nothing, it's very unrealistic. Now, I'm not going to say none of these cards are gradable. Several of these cards can be gradable. If you want Gem Mint 10, I mean, I can't guarantee that's going to happen for majority of these cards. In fact, I'm pretty sure none of these are going to get Gem Mint 10s. But you never know. It depends on what day you send the cards in and what the grader that day was thinking. But right now, PSA is trying to push back people bringing stuff in because they're keep constantly raising. These have gotten nuts. Keep raising the prices on everything. And Tag doesn't have bulk submissions, which I know a lot of people like talking about Tag. Again, I'm not a big fan of them. I will go to them for maybe personal like PC stuff because I do like the slab way they look, but people just don't like spending money on Tag. I prefer grading with PSA just strictly because that's what the market says. But if CGC, Tag, even BGS could gain some more market share back in the next like 6 to 8 months, it would help out. That way vendors would be more open to grading or even picking up CGC, BGS, and Tag. Like, I'll pick it up now just knowing that how hard it is to get PSA slabs in it because the cost to get certain things graded so high. it should deter people from grading. Which not every card needs to be graded. I mean, this card's pack fresh out of a pack. It's not gonna grade better than a 7 because of the silvering. It's maybe an 8. This card shouldn't be graded, but since it's vintage, I'd rather this be graded than some IR from Paladin Fates or from even Perfect Order, stuff like that. That's just those. If you come back 9s, you just lost money. You can get a 7 in this and still at least break even if you send it bulk. But with 9 months, you never know when it's going to come back. Difference is vintage doesn't go crazy. Like, it doesn't jump up and down like Ultramodern does. Because this stuff is finite. We don't have 3, 4, 5, 6 print runs and the constant current person only buying current stuff, and they gotta sell stuff. People race to the bottom whenever things happen, and more print comes out, and people just need money. There's more people with Ultramodern and Vintage. Now, Vintage has more of a mature audience because the guys that are collecting this stuff, like I said, this is all Vintage. The prices will reflect because this is a damaged copy, HP copies. So you'll wonder why something's cheap. You'll know why, or cheaper than what you thought it was. But anyway. Vintage, no jungle symbol. Vintage is stable, and it'll have its moments go up and down. And that's what makes it so good, is that if it's something that you enjoy, you don't have to worry about it jumping up and down 8, 9, 10x. That's just exaggeration. But it's not going to jump up and down like Ultramodern can do. Look at the Mega Charizard from Paladin Fates. Paladin Fates from Phantasmal Flames. Card came out, $750, dropped down to $450, then suddenly jumped back up to $700. Now it's like a $900 card, $850, $900, roughly, give or take. 6 months from now, it could be at $1,100, or it could be back down to $800. We have things that are out of our hands that could impact the market. Vintage is not going to go crazy, where it's going to have Charizard's not going to drop 40% because the economy is down. It's going to stay around its $200 to $500-$600 depending condition for base that I'm talking about. And so you have to worry about it going crazy. But Phantasmal Flame Charizard could drop to $400 if there's 10,000 people trying to race to the bottom selling it. Again, it's exaggerations. It's just an idea that vintage is more for the older crowd, because this is what we grew up on. I mean, I remember when all this came out. Like, I was opening Fossil in middle school when this came out. So this appeals to my generation. But I understand why new current stuff appeals to the younger generation, the younger crowd. Because that's what they grew up on. But that's the crowd that has the expectation that every card has to be graded. Every card's got to be near mint. If you grew up with this stuff, you'll accept a nice lightly played or mildly played card. Because you're not expecting a Gym at 10 to walk up to you. I mean, I was able to pick up a very, very amazing collection recently, which I'm going to get stuff graded because it's so pack fresh. And even those may not come back a high grade. If they do, I'm blessed. I'm happy. If it doesn't, it's an expectation that when you deal with vintage, it's not going to happen. In Ultramodern, if it doesn't get a Gym Mint 10, you've spent so much money for no reason. And 9 times out of 10, the PSA 9 is worth less than the raw card. So it's like, do you really need to be grading every single card that you have? Or just keep it raw and enjoy it. And now, like I said, if it's a nice one that's well centered, no whiting, edge wear looks to like none, sure, get it graded. But there's a risk that you can send that card in, like my buddy just sent in a Gengar, the Mega Attack, not Mega Attack, the SR Gengar looked gorgeous, flawless, centered, no edge wears, no whiting. PSA still gave it a 9. Grading is all subjective. This is all subjective to begin with. Like, I could say this is a Gym Mint card. Obviously, this one's a bad example. Like this one right here. Barely see any whiting. And obviously you can't judge it through the top loader, but if once you take it out, you see a little bit of silvering. That's still a near mint card. But if you deal with modern, you're going to think any card with a flaw is automatically lightly played. Some cards look gorgeous right out of the pack. It could have some silvering. Like this one has a little bit of silvering. Not much, but this just came straight out of the pack. And look at that. Wait. Same with this one. Has a little nick. Those would be lightly played. And that's why it's 130 versus there's one here for... Oh, actually, next card. Like... This one came straight... I know for sure came straight out of the pack because when I got the collection, it was still inside of its pack. Card's gorgeous. But somebody's going to say it's not near mint because it's silvering. I get it. The silvering does deter from it. But guess what? That's a near mint card, guys. It goes right into the binders, near mint. What's it going to grade? 7. Maybe an 8. Guess what an 8 is? It's near mint. The PSA guidelines for basically mint, near mint, lightly played, lightly played. This is a perfect way to judge what a card's going to grade realistically. Now, it depends on, again, PSA is very, very up and down. But if you're buying cards on, say, CCG Player, when a card's near mint, and you get the card in, it has one little white spot. It's still a near mint card. It's not gem mint. And we've been saying this for probably 15 years now, since TCG Player has been implemented. They should have a category for mint, then near mint, then lightly played, moderately played, heavy played, and damaged. I know they don't want to add another category. I get that. Thing is, people have high expectations and unrealistic expectations, thinking that they're going to get a gem mint card in the mail because the thing says near mint. PSA's guidelines of near mint is a 7 and 8. If you look at your 7s and 8s, they all have flaws for a reason. That is still a near mint card. 9s and 10s are considered mint. So if they would implement a mint category, this would save the headache of so many dealers. So many buyers and sellers would benefit from this. Because if a dealer would put a card up there in the mint category and it comes back with a flaw, then they are in the wrong, because that category says it's not categories that's going to have any flaws. In this case, they could put it up there for a 2x price or whatever, because if the person wants to grade it, it's going to get a 2, 3, 4, 5x, whatever the number you want to put up there. Say this card, for example, which is very bad example. Let's actually do this one, because the Light Dragonite is tough to get. This card is a mint card. There is no whiting at all. Maybe the tiniest, which is not really there. This card was gorgeous. Right out of the pack. I probably should grade it, but I'm not going to. This will probably get a PSA 9. The way PSA has been grading lately, I wouldn't be surprised if they gave it an 8. Let's say for the context, this is going to get a 9. A near mint card is a 200 max. The glass sales are like 205, 210, whatever. If this card's truly mint, you could price it for $450, because a PSA 10 is like $2,000. Last time I looked, or $2,500. But that person didn't want to grade it. This probably should. But if it came back a 9, it's $400. So if somebody wants to really take a risk on a mint card to try to get the 10, pay that 2x. This would help differentiate between mint and near mint. So near mint, $200. Lightly played, $120. Moderately played, $100. Heavy played, $80. Damaged, $60. All that was just a general rule of thumb. Throwing some numbers out there. I don't know if that's what it is or not. I surprise myself very often, which is why people come to me about vintage specifically, because I can just rattle off a number and I'm within 5-10%, which I'm not trying to brag about it, but this been doing this for so long. You just see, you know what Pokemon are popular. You've dealt with vintage long enough. You know the patterns. You see the market trends, and you can just have a general idea where it's landing. Anyway, like Gengar, this card, unlimited, $80, $90 for 10 plus years. As a 9. Sorry, context. We're talking about PSA graded cards. As a 9, $80, $90. Now as a 9, I think it's like $400, and PSA 10s are just crazy expensive, couple grand. Near mint is a $200 card. But if we're in that world where you bought a mint card on TCG Player, you could probably put $1,000 on this for the unlimited copy. First editions, $2,500, $2,000. Just because you're not grading the card, but somebody wants to realistically grade it. And if it's a true mint card, they will pay that extra money to get that card. Now, would that deter people from grading? Probably not. But it will definitely make it easier to sell a mint card on TCG Player if you don't want to grade it, because there is an actual cost that makes you not want to grade the card. You gotta think about this. Say, shout out to Dan here. Shout out to Dan Lightning Finds. He has overhead. This goes with Brett Starks. Shout out to him. Goes with anybody with storefront. You have overhead. And let's just do a generic overhead. $1,000 a month. That's relatively cheap. Employees, electricity, building cost. You got to make that $1,000 up with your cards. If you strictly bought mint cards and sent it off to PSA, just a general idea. You spent okay for this card. You spent $180 to buy the card because someone really wants 90% for their cards. Which, again, by the way, the 90% thing, that's another topic that we can get into. But for people that have overhead and sell online, that's the most unrealistic number possible. Now, if you're only doing shows and you need inventory for the show, yes, it's a number that makes sense. But 90% just generally is not a number that anybody can operate on. And if somebody's spending money for a table, you got to make up that table cost. That's overhead. That's another thing. I'm going to go on my high horse on this. People that get upset by people trying to ask for 80% at a show, like H-Town Card Show or even the Starks Trading Coast show, there's a cost to set up. So you expect those dealers to just do it for free? Make no money? Yeah, they're selling the cards. They probably made money over time with those. But if you're trading in your stuff you do not want for stuff that you want, you really think that dealer wants to take all those $5 and $15 cards willingly at 100%? Even 90%? Hell, even 80%. The cost to get their money back on the card that you want, there's zero opportunity cost for that dealer. So why would they want to give you their best card for all your junk? You got to think about that. A lot of people in our community, and I'm going to call this group out sometimes. There's a few people every once in a while get upset when someone says they want a percentage. Now, I get it if there's guys in here that are asking for percentages every single time you make a deal with them and they're not doing a show and they're just doing it through Facebook. Yes, I get that. I haven't been doing that. I know some people that do, and all you gotta do is say, I will pass, thank you very much. If they really want the cards, they will be fair with you and do a trade straight up. But if you're at a show, it's different. If you go up to a dealer and you want market for market, unless that dealer is a true collector and they really want the card for themselves, which I will do, every once in a while, if there's a card that walks up to my table and I really want that card, I will do market for market. Hell, I may even give you my stuff at a smaller or a better percentage just to get that card in if I truly need it. That's how bad I would do it. But majority of the time, these dealers do this for a living. Some of these do it as their actual job. they're not going to give you market for any single card. It doesn't matter how liquid the card is and how valuable the card is, how high demand it is. They've got to make something on the deal, or it makes no sense for them to give up their stuff to go to you and to make that money back up. So, if you have expectations to go into a show where people paid for costs, like paid money to get that space because they got to rent that space out, even the show organizers, there's a cost. If you get upset by that, you're just not in the right. What's the word? It's not the industry for you, because you rather just go to a like mom and pop shop that has a Pokemon trade day. That's probably where you want to go because it's free. They have overhead, but there are people buying cards, buying snacks, or whatever. But when you go into a show, think about that. It's just something that I've had issues with in the past. Sorry, I rambled on. Grading, like for nice PSA 1. Another community I don't understand. But somebody's going to buy this for $200 someday. The grade is the PSA 1. It's a $280 card. It's a PSA 1. Somebody will buy it one day. But most people out here just want mint cards. You're not getting this card near mint. If this card had one or two slight flaws, I'm going to charge you $600. If this card's mint, no flaws, perfect centering, no whiting, this card would not be in my display case. This card's a $3,000 card plus, $4,000, $5,000. I do not know the number. I'm not putting this in my display as a mint card. Makes no sense. Because I don't do this for a living. Now, somebody that do this for a living, they will upcharge you on the price. Say the card is $600 near mint. I think it is like $575 or something like that. They may put it for $800, knowing how clean the card is. Opportunity cost. If it comes back at 10, they lost money because they didn't grade the card. Comes back at 9, $750. They didn't lose money. They took that $600 and put it into something else. The opportunity cost for the dealer who has the overhead is a little more minuscule or smaller because they have to pay for bills. If cards are sitting at PSA for 2 months, those are not paying the bills. Bills don't care when the cards come back. Bills got a time frame. So they have to sell their cards. But when a dealer has to have near mint cards for their customers to buy it, that makes me upset because that means they have to pass on some of this stuff. Like, this card's a modelly played card for $250, but near mint's like $700, $800. But somebody will want a first edition for $250 for their binder. But a lot of these guys out here can't buy. I mean, this thing's damaged. But they can't buy this stuff because nobody wants to buy played cards. They only want near mint stuff. And that just blows my mind because not everybody can afford, one, can afford near mint cards. And two, not everybody needs a near mint card for the binder. It just, when 70% of your customer base just wants near mint cards for them to grade for themselves, that's where this industry is going to crumble. Especially when the market does, and it will, come down at some point. I do not care what you say right now. We may be on the highest mountain climb we've seen in our history. At some point, we will have a snowball effect that will have it going down, back to downhill, rolling. And who knows when it will recover. Look at COVID. Great example. We were sitting in our houses doing nothing. Prices were like, today, those things would like, you wouldn't believe these numbers. But in 2020, 2021, we had the COVID booms. And everything just skyrocketed. And everybody was euphoric about the hobby again. Just because you're sitting in the house doing nothing. This car was like $180 back then. And then, suddenly, 2022 and 23 rolls around. Boom is no longer booming. And we are on a massive free fall. But that's not just collectibles. Stock, gold, silver. I mean, gold and silver was always weird until recently. Many assets that were in the space of investments took a big hit. Everybody was so happy about Pokemon. And then suddenly, everything just started cratering. Sorry, that's like, these are big high prices. I just don't want to sell them, but if I do, I do. All right. Last three. I'll leave it right here. So, when 2023 rolled around, things were not looking good. We're talking a 40% dip, 50% dip across the board on modern at the time. And nobody was buying boxes for $90 a box. No one was buying vintage. Nobody was buying modern. Nobody was buying ultra modern. Everybody wanted to sell. Race to the bottom. 2 years goes by. Suddenly we have this massive boom. Right before the 30th anniversary. You got Prismatic Evolution. Surging Sparks really was the boom with Surging Sparks. The big Pikachu set. Do not understand why it was related to that set, but we just had that massive boom. And things started climbing 20, 30, 40, 50%. Booster boxes are no longer $90 a box, $100 a box, $120 a box. You can't find them for $150. You can't find box sets for less than $15, $20. Bundles, $15, $20, $25. Doesn't matter. Everybody's buying it. And that's where all the greed has come into the world. And you see these people go into these stores who don't give a flying flip about Pokemon. They just see the dollar signs. Selling booster boxes are $160, $170. ETBs are $50, $60. Pokemon company sees the dollar signs, starts raising the prices of the ETBs from $40 to $50. Now they're $60. These specialty sets, Prismatic, before that, Hidden Fates, Shiny Fates, Paldean Fates. These sets were not meant to be $140 after release and people are standing in line for 4 hours. They get a Pokemon product. Stuff like that is what caused this market to do what it's doing right now. Imagine a year from now, just like in 2023, we have a massive downturn. Suddenly you go into a Walmart and you see hundreds of packs sitting there because they're $6 a pack now instead of the $4.49 or $3.99 that it was, because Pokemon saw the greed and took advantage of it. All of a sudden, nobody wants to open it up. And what are you doing with your cards? Are you going to keep sitting on for 4 years, or are you going to sell them? Well, if you're selling them, you're going to be racing the bottom like everybody else. You're going to find that next sucker to buy those cards and think they're going to be the next one that we have to boom. That's what you have to think about when you're in this industry, as a dealer, as a collector even. Most collectors shouldn't care what their value of their collection is. And what I mean by that is, if you're a real, actual collector in the game, you love the cards. You put that $50 into that card. Doesn't matter if it goes down to zero. If it goes to $500, it's your favorite card, you're not selling it. But you say that. But one day when you're financially in a bind and you just need some cash. These are credit cards. Think about that. This $200 card, $150 card, whatever it's worth, could be $50. But guess what? You could sell it to somebody for $35, $40 and you could use that cash to pay your bills. Maybe this card's $300 and it goes back down to $225. If you buy the right cards and then quote unquote invest into them properly, you might make a little bit of money down the road. But if you are strictly a collector, it doesn't matter if this card goes to $10,000. Some people are like that. And I know one guy specifically. Shout out to Johnson on this one. He's a big Dragonite collector. Doesn't matter. He has got a card. He's into it for $150. Now it's $5,000. Is he selling it? Nope. Because he's a collector. It doesn't matter what the value of the card is. What happens if he gets fired? Loses his job. Mortgage on a house is due. Doesn't have the money in the bank. He can sell these. No matter what the price is. Real life happens. And that's where this comes into play. Enjoy the hobby while you can, because at some point, all these people that have thousands of dollars invested are a panic and it's going to sell. And you're going to lose that value that you have into it. It doesn't matter what you paid for it 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. I've got Magic Black Lotus I paid $300 for. It's 12 grand right now. Have I sold it? I have not. I don't want to sell it. I will sell it if I need the money, though. In this industry, there are things that have to be done to make it beneficial for both the collector and the investor and the dealer to all have a happy median. And we have to have one thriving for the others to thrive. If all three are not thriving, this will go to zero. So, I'm going to cut it short here. 30 minutes later. I'm going to cut it here right now. All I'm asking is everybody needs to get off their high horse and stop treating this as a asset class that only goes up in price. Because at some point, this will come down. And when it does, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be stuck with stuff that they can't do anything with because they're so stuck on the value of what they put into it. And they're going to get burned. And I've seen it dozens of times. I've heard that where I've spent this much money, it's worth this much now. I can't sell it. Yes, you can. Business term, time, value, and money. The value of your dollar is worth less the further we go in life. You spent $50 on this card 5 years ago. The card's worth $75 now. And you got offered $50. You broke even. You theoretically didn't break even. Because your $50 was worth more back then than it is today. There's numbers. You put money into a card, that's called a sunk cost. It doesn't matter what you spent into it. You own that card now. It could be $500. It could be $100. When you sell it, whatever that value of that card is at the time, that's what you're gonna get for it. There's a sunk cost. It doesn't matter what you paid. You own the card. You've been cherished the card. Everything. There was a sunk cost. That is your value. Doesn't matter what it's worth 5 years from now. Yeah, this card could be worth $10,000. Doesn't matter. I'm not paying you more than what the market says it is right now. Nobody's going to. If you do, find somebody who wants to pay 1.5x for the card because they really want it. Congratulations. Take advantage of it and run. But don't get upset when someone offers you 60% of a card because they're only going to get 80% if they sell it online. After cost, fees, shipping, the shipping cost, they paid you 60%. Okay, good example. Last thing. $200 card. It's $150. I'm just going to say $200 for example. I'll pay you 60% on that. That's $120. I'll put this card up for $200 on sell. I'll drop it to $180. Sells at $180. 85% of that. So it was $170 something after fees. $165, somewhere around there. Then you got your taxes, you got your bubble mailers, and you got your shipping cost. Because you're going to be doing free shipping unless you want to charge less because you got to put shipping costs into it to be the lowest on TCG Player. After fees and everything, you're looking at $150. If I paid you $160 for this card and I just sold it for $200 and I'm only getting $150 back, I just lost money. Current market, when a business dealer does that, that's bad. But as a collector, you're not a dealer. And when you need that money, you got to understand, you're getting $120 for $150 worth of a card. It's pretty damn good. It really is. A lot of people just don't understand that. There's a chance I may make videos down the road just trying to discuss like the teaching the industry on how the good and bad. I'm not perfect. Far from it. I've just been in it for a very long time. Probably one of the longest tenured dealers in the area. And I think my experience can be valuable. And I've been told this many a times. Again, I'm not perfect, and this is my opinion. All this is my opinion. Could be all wrong. Most of it's not, and I promise you it's not. But there are some things I will be wrong with every once in a while. This is something I've just dealt with in being the business major. And I know a few people. We all talk about this, and we see the potential downfall and see what money that's being thrown around. The minute this thing crashes, there's going to be so many people that are going to be burned. The over-leveraged people are the ones that are going to be crying, saying things are crazy and cratering. But that's where the collector wins. Because the collector can get their cards for cheaper. This card goes for $400. Somebody got it for $400 instead of $700. Congratulations to them. They bought it on the decline. They're happy. That dealer's also happy because they got the money to reinvest and do something else. Doesn't matter. I wish we could teach that to more people in this industry. Because that would make it a lot easier to deal. And I think both the buyer and the sellers could have a better, enjoyable hobby. Instead of all this crap that I see all the time. And the scalping stuff, when the market goes down, that's when you won't see them. And you may see some of them. You will. But the majority of the ones that don't care about Pokemon, they'll go to something else. And the cycle of life begins again. Alright, guys. This was meant to be a video about showing my inventory and being a video about some of the things that just are on my mind. And I want this community, this specific community, to understand. This is a hobby that we used to be bullied for when we were kids. Because it's a children's card game. And yet we see adults arguing over some of the silliest crap in there. I'm trying not to curse right now, but I could chew some of y'all's asses out right now. Stop the bullying. Stop the name calling. Stop getting upset when somebody is asking 120%. It's a free market. They can do whatever they want. But don't get upset when they say no to your 90% or 80% or your 70%. Everybody has the right to do that. And I'm not telling you can't. But there's certain things that people have to understand that why certain people do things. Business dealers, business owners. They have bills to pay. These scalpers. Everybody does it. Me included. Am I going to Walmart every once in a while? Sure. If I have time to stay around instead of me working, I'll stick around. I'm not going out of my way to do it though. If I'm there, I know it. Yes, I know when they're in the back room. I see the MJ holding boxes all the time. Doesn't mean I'm a camp at 6 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning. These stories of people staying there at 11 o'clock at night. That's not me. It shouldn't be you either. But some people want to do it because they want to get their hands on the cards. Don't be upset that they do it. It is their lives. They're allowed to do whatever the hell they want. Do not bully them. Now, if they have a bad attitude and they start becoming bad humans and start being really crappy to people, then I can understand you not wanting to be around them and you have a right to be upset. Because they shouldn't be treating you like that either. But quit treating each other so poorly. We're in an industry. We're playing a game. We're collecting a children's card game. Yes, it's worth money. Yes, it's valuable over time. We're collecting a card game. Remember this. Do not treat people like children do others. That saying goes, treat others like you want to be treated. And I hate that you have to tell that to adults. Stop it. Okay? Enjoy this hobby while we can. We're only on this earth for a short time frame. And this is something we can enjoy. Don't take it away from everybody. And don't give people crap because they have different opinions than you. Even me. You may not agree with me what's going on right now. I'm just trying to make it easier for everybody to coexist. And if you stayed around listening to this video, congratulations, you're the real ones. Because it's 40 minutes long and I'm about to go to bed. But I had to do this. And I'm going to post this. And I'll be very curious to see how many of y'all actually listen to it. I'm going to go ahead and let y'all go here. If y'all want to talk, you know where to find me. I may hop off of Facebook for a little bit after what's going on with my mother. I have a funeral next week, so I may be off of Facebook for a little bit. So, if you actually want to talk, you know where to find me. But please don't spam me. I just want everybody to be happy. Enjoy it while you can, because it's not gonna last forever, guys. All right, guys. Peace out.